So I'm stealing this picture from Arch's channel. Don't worry, I haven't listened to his video, so I don't know his takes, which are probably going to be different than mine. But as the news suggests, diversity heads at Disney, Warner Brothers, and Netflix have all gone with it above. And I think I can explain why this is happening. You see, a couple of years ago, America went through a moral panic. And it was the Black Lives Matter protests. And because of that, the industries, especially the entertainment one, had to prove that they're not being racist. They had to pledge an allegiance, and all of them started hiring diversity officers far more than they needed. The problem with diversity officers is that they're very expensive. Like, you can hire a group of talented people instead of them. As you can see, most of them do lack diversity. Like, there is an irony that there is almost no diversity within the diversity officers themselves. Like, I've never seen a cisgender straight white man as a diversity officer. It's like seeing a female Catholic priest. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, maybe some heretical orthodoxy exists somewhere that hires a female priest, but it's kind of the same like a company that would hire a guy as a diversity officer. And the main problem with them is that they actually do have influence on the product that is being made. So if you're making movies, if you're making video games, they usually have more to do than just keeping people in line and making sure that the hirings are diverse. No, they usually get involved in the creative process. So I remember Asmongold actually got one of my videos that talked about this, and immediately he closed it because he was afraid of what I was about to say. And what I was about to say is the truth. You know, how the fuck can a person that never wrote a book in their fucking life be able to work at a company like Blizzard and write parts of the stories of World of Warcraft? Because this is what Blizzard at the time was talking about. They were like, oh, well, we got a new diversity officer and she's going to be involved with the story. And I'm like, okay, so what games did she publish before working at Blizzard? What is her work? Right? Like, I, for example, as a gamer who have played so much in my life, I don't think I am fit to work at a AAA company like Blizzard and write for their games. It's like, it's a really talented company, right? Like, they have games with a lot of lore. I mean, you would need to know the background of Azeroth in order to write in World of Warcraft. And there's so many characters, there's so much lore, right? Obviously, these people have no fucking clue. Like, all they know is, like, they went to university and they learned that white man bad, America evil, Blizzard good. And that's pretty much what their bag of tools is. That's the knowledge that they bring to the table. And the funny part is, like, when you pay someone usually up to $300,000 a year in order to censor shit, well, they have to justify their existence. They have to justify their wage, so they are actually going to start censoring shit just for the sake of censoring. This is why you saw at Blizzard when they decided to censor the art that had beautiful depiction of women and they replaced it with fruit bowls. It's not that that art was perverse or anything, you know, like, you could play World of Warcraft and live stream it on Twitch, on YouTube, on all of these social media platforms that do not allow for pornography or nudity, and nothing would have been a problem, right? But they found the problem to justify why they are getting paid $300,000. Removing jokes from the game, like, this is what they're doing, right? And unfortunately, they also do not allow for creativity. So what ends up happening is that I personally know artists who work at AAA companies, and they go there with a very beautiful design that they show me, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, like, I would pay money to buy this. Like, oh, this looks great. And they go, and the diversity officer, you know, says, well, our company has matured. We no longer draw like that. We no longer support that type of character. Can you shrink the breasts? Can you make the shoulders a little bit wider? Can you make the jawline a little bit more strong? You know? So you end up with shit. I mean, Lord of the Rings, like, holy fuck. Rings of Power plus Privilege, it's called, right? Like, I'm pretty sure they were like, oh, the woman needs to be strong. Like, you need to make sure that in no scene she has a man helping her. She needs to outshine all the men. Make sure that you focus on the left-wing versus right-wing struggle, right? Like, the minority struggle needs to be at the front and center. Make the humans try to be racist to the elves and say that the elves took our jobs and blah, 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 you know, and that type of shit. which is quite hilarious if you think about it. Yeah, no, unironically, in Rings of Power Plus Privilege, there's this scene where the Numerians are upset that the elves are taking their jobs. And now the writers are upset that the AI are taking their fucking jobs. So they're making a movie that they're trying to push their politics, which is to consider it evil to be worried about your jobs, right? And within Rings of Power Plus Privilege, it makes fucking sense that the Numerians would be upset that the elves are taking their jobs. Because like an elf doesn't sleep. And they actually mentioned this in the fucking movie. An elf doesn't sleep. He lives for hundreds of years. You know, like actually in Lord of the Rings, an elf can live forever if he doesn't get killed brutally, right? So like as long as he doesn't go to war, he can actually live forever. So you have this entity which can accumulate more knowledge than other humans in their lifetime, doesn't need to sleep. Of course it's an unfair competition. Like, there's even no question that the Numerians are in the right. They're like, okay, well, we want to live in a place where we can be competitive, and we can't do it. Like, it's not even a question about, like, another race of people. It's an entire different species. So now the writers are pissed off about the AI, which also doesn't sleep, can write better than them, unfortunately, and is a lot, has a lot more knowledge in its database than the human has in its head. So of course you can't create art when you have to listen to the political diktat, to the communicat that comes down from the apparatchiks, which are the diversity officers, and they're forcing these types of stories that in the end up biting you in your own ass. So, now you also have the financial situation where you have the economic downturn, and because of that, companies are trying to make budget cuts. And of course, this is the fact. You can't write movies without diversity officers. They have done so for literally thousands of years. Not movies, but scripts, right? Like, we have theater since ancient Greece. And scripts for theater has been written without the help of the wise diversity officer up until today. Hollywood is the juggernaut around the world without the help of diversity officers. And by the way, all movies are diverse. I mean, there are many black characters and diverse actors in movies that I grew up with, like Jackie Chan, for example, Eddie Murphy, Will Smith. I mean, I can go on, and I used to just particularly go see a movie which had Morgan Freeman in it, specifically just because Morgan Freeman is playing. So I didn't need any diversity officer to say, oh, you need to hire Morgan Freeman. No, right? Like, things normally evolved, and they will continue to evolve without the diversity officers. In fact, we may actually witness an increase rather than a decline in the quality of movies. But let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.